Okay, test, test. Here.
3 minutes. Something happened. I think we need. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Send me another link.
Good. Okay. All right. Let's see. Go back to this here. All right. You can hear me? Sorry. Hello, everyone. My name is Chad Spurlock. I'm a 4th grade math and science teacher over here at Beaver Technology Center. I'm here with my partner, Christina Etheridge, who teaches 4th grade ELA and social studies over at Hillside Academy. Here at Beaver, my students work on MacBooks and iPads daily. I've been integrating technology for about 5 years of my teaching career. Over the past 5 years, I've used different methods to reflect on my technology integration. I feel this SAMR model that I'm about to talk about is a great way to simplify the process of deciding how technology is used in my classroom when lesson planning. Today, I'll be covering what the SAMR model is, how you can use the SAMR model to improve your technology integration during lesson planning, a few example lessons along with apps, and at the end, I'll supply some information and a challenge to you after the completion of this webinar. All right. Now, this is just one model that's available to help you shape your technology integration in the classroom. I suggest after completion of this webinar that you explore various other models, one other being TPAC, Technological, Pedagogical, and Content Knowledge. At the end of this webinar, I expect you'll be on your way to improving your technology integration by having a simple to follow guide to look back at any time you have an opportunity to use technology in the classroom. Okay, this webinar is aligned with the Creative Communicator ITSE standard. Students communicate for a variety of purposes and a variety of methods to express ideas and generate learning artifacts and to communicate with digital platforms. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with a brief explanation of what the SAMR model is.
Every day, teachers are designing activities to target higher order thinking skills in order to engage students in rich learning experiences. But integrating technology adds a whole new layer to teaching and learning. How can technology transform your learning design? Dr. Ruben Puentedura developed the SAMR model as a way for teachers to evaluate how they are incorporating technology into their instructional practice. You can use SAMR to reflect upon how you are integrating technology into your classroom. Is it an act of substitution, augmentation, modification, or redefinition? Dr. Puentedura likens his model to moving up a ladder. The model includes a dotted line that represents the threshold where you shift from using technology to enhance learning to using it to transform learning. Transforming learning promotes higher order thinking skills, such as analyzing, evaluating, and creating, which are essential to Common Core state standards and 21st century learning. So, how can you teach above the line? Let's take a look at an example of a classroom task and how it evolves through the lens of SAMR. In substitution, technology acts as a direct tool substitute with no real functional change to the task. For example, take creative writing. What if you had students write a story using a word processing program? In this case, students are substituting a handwritten story for a typed story. The task is the same with no real change in student engagement. In augmentation, technology still substitutes, but with some functional improvement. What if you took the same creative writing assignment and had students use a word processing program? They could use features such as spell check and tools for formatting. Again, the story writing task is the same, but the technology augments it with enhanced productivity. In modification, technology should allow for significant task redesign. Take the same creative writing assignment and have students use Google Docs to write their stories. Students can then share these stories with peers and provide real-time feedback. Here, technology has significantly modified the original task by introducing the benefits of student collaboration. At the top stage, redefinition, technology allows for the creation of entirely new tasks that were previously inconceivable. What if students transform their written stories into multimedia productions? After creating storyboards, students film scenes, edit clips, and add music. They can publish the videos and receive feedback from voices across the globe. In this case, technology redefines the story writing task to include media creation, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. So, how can you use SAMR to reflect upon transforming your learning design? Quintadora offers reflection questions to help you move up the SAMR ladder and shift how you are designing learning experiences. For instance, ask yourself, what will I gain by replacing the older technology with the new technology? Have I added an improvement to the task process that could not be accomplished with the older technology at a fundamental level? Does this modification fundamentally depend upon the new technology? How is the new task uniquely made possible by the new technology? These are just a few of the questions you can ask yourself as you evaluate the design of a classroom task, and consider that not all technology integration is created equal. Ultimately, SAMR can help you evaluate your use of technology and design tasks that target higher order thinking skills, engage students in rich learning experiences, and impact student achievement.
Okay. Okay, so we just saw an explanation of the SAMR model. On one end of the technology is used as a one-to-one replacement for traditional tools. And on the other end, technology enables experiences that were previously impossible without it. It would seem like a redefinition would be the ideal spot to be in for every lesson, but that doesn't necessarily end up being the case every single time. Let's go through each level of the model, and I'll give you examples of how it appears in my classroom. All right, for substitution, substitution is pretty much switching out paper and pencil for technology. Sometimes this is necessary in my math classroom when we are conducting practice problems on the iPad. If we did not have cards available in the classroom with iPads, I would not go out of my way to implement this. Instead, I'd merely print copies or have them get a piece of scratch paper. There are some benefits, such as not worrying about pencils being sharpened or erasers being worn down, but the lesson and activity could be done with paper without much change to the eventual outcome of the learner. I use, in that case, Notability. I simply ask my students to open it up on the iPad, and I'll put problems up on the screen. Like I said, that could be done with paper. It's available easily for us here at Beaver because the card's right there and it's available. For augmentation, augmentation is a small step up, but can be valuable in certain lessons. An example of augmentation in my classroom would be students typing up a short summary of a process in science for an exit ticket. They used a spell check, built-in dictionary, and thesaurus of Google Docs. This can be shared between students. They can check each other's work, and they can possibly add more ideas to theirs. This offers a slight benefit over just replacing paper and pencil, but it could be done without technology. They could trade papers and they could see what they have. It's a step up. It's an enhancement, but it's not a transformation. So for modification, modification is where you would see a direct altering of the lesson through technology usage. In my classroom, we utilize project-based learning. Students work collaboratively to solve a problem. The end result is differing answers from group to group, but with the driving question answered. Students use and share documents through the Google EDU applications and Google Classroom. They work together to gather information from various websites, work inside the classroom as well as outside at home. combine the information and shape it into a new product, such as a presentation. This step up offers the ability to enhance lessons that wouldn't be reasonable without the use of technology. Redefinition. This is one part of the SAMR model that takes some real understanding of outside applications to achieve, although it's not completely difficult. A recent example of this part of the SAMR model that you would have witnessed in my classroom is a PBL that was recently conducted where students were applying concepts of area and perimeter. The end product was a screen recording of them giving a tour of a playhouse they built in Minecraft and their dimensions, including area, perimeter, and for some of my higher achieving students, volume. Without the technology, they couldn't actually apply and build a playhouse. But with the technology, they can utilize their new knowledge and apply it in a real world situation, such as actually building a playhouse in a virtual world, of course. So where do you get started? That depends on your available technology. If you share the carts with iPad, or if you share a cart of iPads, MacBooks, or Chromebooks with a grade level, I'd start by creating a schedule where you have dedicated technology days. Set goals. I recommend setting some form of technology goal at the beginning of the year. It could be as simple as I want to complete at least X amount of lessons at the redefinition stage. But you must be realistic and understand your limitations. Limitations being access to the devices and your students' understanding. It's a little bit easier for my students to jump right in and use the devices because they've been using them since kindergarten. So that's a consideration. Next is to decide what application you need by using a SAMR will. This PDF that I have on here directly links to all the applications that you could use. I'm going to click on here and I'm going to open it up in just a second. Applications are categorized in a few different ways. You go through and you pick your applications by following gears. Let me show you that here. And this is the website right here, designingoutcomes.com. And you can go through and pick different versions that you need. They have iOS apps and they have Android apps as well. And some of the Android apps, you can check with your CTA, but they should work on the Chromebooks. So let me go ahead and check one of these out here. And we'll go with Apple. Okay, and basically what this wheel shows you is different levels to help you pick appropriate applications to eventually reach the redefinition stage, if that's what's appropriate for what you need. Okay, and I really can't, well, I guess I can zoom in a little bit and you can see the different action verbs and activities, and then it has it directly linked to the apps themselves. And it will take you to the websites and tell you all about it. You can read reviews and see if that's what you need. This is just to assist you to pick out certain apps. Now, there's tons that you could use, and you don't necessarily have to use these, but this is a good start while you're sitting there and you're creating your lessons and trying to think about what to use. Sometimes the biggest challenge is actually figuring out what applications are available. Now, I noticed when I was going through here, there's a lot of free apps, and of course you want to aim for that first, and then you can go to the paid ones as well. I highly recommend Notability. It's very, very useful, not only in the classroom, but if you go outside the classroom, you don't need internet to connect to make products. Okay, so that's a short rundown of what this wheel is. It has a ton of descriptions on there on how to use it. I don't have time to go over every single bit of it, but this is definitely something to aid you in creating your lessons and deciding what applications to pick. It's very useful, and let me go ahead and put the link back up here. Instead of trying to type in this short link right here or this one here, of course, if you can pause this video, that'll work, but designingoutcomes.com, and you'll be able to get to the correct version. Okay. What I want to say before I move on from this slide is that you definitely need to plan for problems. Sometimes applications don't work correctly, or sometimes Wi-Fi goes down. Always have a backup plan. These things happen. It shouldn't discourage you, though. As long as you're planning your lessons with technology in a way that it's going to enhance it, then it's absolutely worth the frustration. Okay? One of the applications or websites that I absolutely recommend you setting up is your Google Classroom. This is a great way to autonomize students' work. Documents, links, videos, pictures, and even small quizzes can be posted onto the classroom. Assignments can be scheduled in advance and to the entire classroom or to individual students for differentiation. All assignments are automatically assigned to the student's Google Calendar when you give it a due date. So not only can they keep up with what assignments are due, they can know exactly when they're going to need to turn it in and complete it. Okay, as you see here, this is just some snapshots from my classroom. This is how I organize our PBLs, any assignments that we do. I have just our regular math assignments here, creating a frequency table and dot plot. Okay, I used an online spinner. This was an enhancement. This is not necessarily anything over augmentation. We were able to customize the wheel and create a data table from the information when they spun it. Now over here, this would be a step up. All right, I would almost say redefinition. They created their own videos to show proof that they understood a process in math. They created a barcode. They put that barcode onto a poster, and we printed out the posters and displayed them in the hallway to share with anyone passing that could scan it. Okay, let's see. All the assignments, like I said, are automatically assigned on the Google Calendar, which is wonderful for organization and training the students to keep track of just multiple assignments. It's really wonderful. In fact, I recommend that you have your CTA install all of the Google EDU applications on your Chromebooks or iPads or MacBooks. Well, I guess it's just a website with the MacBooks. They're free to use for Garland ISD and are used extensively in my classroom, and I have almost zero problems with them. Okay. Now we're going into some example lessons here. Substitution, you have typing out the work using a word processor rather than handwriting. Okay, not too big of a deal. It can be done on paper. The end product is not that much different. Augmentation, some of the built-in tools such as the thesaurus, the word count, the spell check might be used. All right, this is where I land sometimes. I'm not over probably 75% of my assignments are probably not in the modification area or redefinition. Augmentation is more than my majority assignments. It offers enhancements. It's the students are able to share it a little bit with me, and I can check the work. We can get quick feedback and stuff, but the results, the end product, are usually about the same as far as using paper or the technology. Oh, modification would be collaboratively create a story using online that allows for multimedia tools. Flipbook was one example that they used for this one. And then redefinition would be using Twitter. Now, younger students aren't going to use Twitter. They're going to use maybe paper tweets that they can print out. A story starter is posed. For instance, in the depths of New York City, on the top of the Empire State Building, a creature rested, and so from there. Okay, here's another example here that I found. Again, instead of using a word processor or just using a word processor or PowerPoint presentation, you're at the substitution level. Okay, augmentation. Now you're designing a travel brochure or a guide for a chosen country using Microsoft Word or Google Docs. Sometimes they have templates. Okay, modification would be the travel guide incorporates multimedia, and the students collaborate to make a video and narrate it. A redefinition would be using Google Earth to promote the viability of a location as a tourist destination, inclusion of interviews with residents of people who have visited the location, and data from social networking sites to validate claims. As you notice, it's going to that redefinition stage. you're not going to be able to do anything like that without the technology. You can tell the big difference between modification and redefinition compared to augmentation, but it's not always appropriate. All right. I have a few more examples here. I'm not going to go over every single one of them. If it pulls up, I may not be able to pull. There we go. Okay. This is just a whole list of examples that I found simply Googling. Okay, the information's out there. It's very easy to reach. All I Googled for to find this one was SAMR example lessons. And what they've done on this document here, and I believe this was probably one of the first 5 or 6 results when I Googled that, they've taken the original assignment and they've shown you what you can do to move up the SAMR model, to enhance that lesson, to come up with a better product that's more interactive and capable of allowing the students to bring in creativity as well as practice those 21st century skills. So like I said, I'm not going to go over every single one of these. I found this. This is very easy to find by Googling. Easily available. I recommend you guys going ahead and doing that same search and discovering it, taking a quiz. It turns all these different activities that you're probably already used to into a more enhanced lesson. Okay. All right. This is a neat little graphic that I found. It says using technology versus technology integration. Again, this is what the SAMR model is going to help you with. All right, so you want to, if you're going to use it, make it worthwhile. Instead of technology use being random, arbitrary, and just something that you're throwing into your classroom, it's planned, it's purposeful. All right, you're reflecting on whether or not it worked. Okay, a lot of thought needs to go into this. You can't just decide one day to bring in an iPad and tell the students to take some notes. That doesn't necessarily help anything. Yeah, you've replaced some paper, but the end product of the students doing that, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. So that's an interesting graphic there. If you'd like to read over that for just a second, I'll leave it up. Okay, so when this video is eventually posted, stuff like this, you'll be able to pause it and go back and look at it. I recommend that. I'm moving kind of quickly through this. I'm barely at the top of the iceberg with this, okay? This can go very deep. SAMR model it's just merely a guide to help you out. I can't cover everything, unfortunately, in 30 minutes on here, but I hope that I've kind of piqued an interest. There's a ton of information out there. This has been going on since I believe about 2012, 2011, maybe even earlier than that. So I want to challenge you. I want you to explore some things. Go to the SAMR Will website and check out the different apps. See what's available, see what might work for you, and follow those gears to help pick and choose which apps you may need to use. Any applications that need to be installed, talk to your CTA. Also, a great source of information is going to be your I3 personnel on your campus. They're there to help you or find answers for you through other people. Okay, I recommend at the beginning of the year, maybe this coming year, or even now, we still have a few months to set a technology integration goal. This would be great to include in your T-tests. I believe there's a category there specifically for technology integration. This could be one that you put in your paperwork or one that you just make for yourself. They can be small, but make sure they're realistic, achievable goals. Start out small. Don't over-challenge yourself. TPAC model. Now, when I was over at Texas A&M Commerce and through the master's program, I was learning about the TPAC model. And this is a great way also to get the technology integration and making sure that it's aligned with the content as well. It's a little bit more in depth, so it's going to take quite a bit more time than 30 minutes. The SAMR model is great. It goes a little bit more in depth. They work well together. So I recommend you go out and you look up and search about the TPAC model. Watch a YouTube video. They have some real creative ones out there. SAMR model lesson plan template. I didn't put that on here. It's as easy to do as a Google search. I believe a few popped up when I was looking for one. Excuse me. There's a few out there, and they're simply just putting the process into a way that's easy for you to follow. Okay, it's asking you if this is enhancing your lesson. All right, what are the benefits over using this technology versus just using paper and pencil or going to the library and reading a book? Okay, digital resources. Anything that you think you might want to use with your class that you may not know about or you may not know exist. I mean, you may need to find some stuff. Your I3, campus I3 personnel is going to be able to help you out. They should be able to, or know someone that should be able to get you a list of all the available websites that you have subscriptions to, applications that may already be paid for, and things of that nature. So please ask them for help. CTA, of course, is going to be your help with technology problems, such as not connecting to Wi-Fi or issues like that. But the I3 person can definitely steer you in the right direction, even if those are your issues. Twitter and blogs. Expand your PLC out. Get onto Twitter. Start following different people that are involved with integrating technology in the classroom. Join a Google Hangout group every so often. There's different groups on Google Plus that you can join specifically for your content area. Find some resources, some lesson plan examples. Look at those lesson plan examples. There's a ton of help out there that I didn't go over in this specific lesson, but it's easy to find. There's some great videos out there over the SAMR model, moving up when it's appropriate, when it's not, and to really kickstart integration into your classroom. And if you happen to do any of this stuff, please, please, please tweet to me or Miss Etheridge. Evidence. We'd love to see what you're doing. Not only do I do it in my classroom, at my handle there on Twitter, but I also look at other people's classrooms. There's, I didn't start out just being able to do this. I got information from other people. I talked to my I3, my campus I3, and I've used different times. I've used their information as well. Just use your resources and don't be scared to integrate technology in your classroom. As long as it's used the correct way, not only will you enjoy teaching your classroom just a little bit better, but the students are going to enjoy it as well because they're going to be able to relate to something that they use outside of the classroom for fun. All right, I believe that is about it. So we're going to go ahead and leave it open for any questions that you may have. I'll leave this up here for about 2 minutes, and we'll see if anyone has anything. That's pretty much about it. Okay, and it looks like the CPE link is posted, so you can go ahead and get your credit. Okay, guys, that's, like I said, that's going to wrap it up. I do hope to hear that one of you guys that watched this video has taken steps toward hitting that redefinition stage every so often. I'd love to see your evidence. Again, please tweet, follow, do whatever. But I wish you luck, and I wish you successful tech integration. Y'all have a good day.